Penelope Havana. Could this be one of the best finished whiskeys in the world? Let's find out. What is going on, everybody? Nathan here with the Everyday Drinker, bringing us a brand new video. Today, we are going to be doing a review of the brand new release of the Penelope Havana. Now, I have seen a couple of different reviews on this thing, and some people absolutely love it, and some people absolutely despise this whiskey right here. Now, if you do not know what this is the next iteration of the Cooper series from Penelope. This is going to be a 4-grain whiskey, the typical 4-5-year-old Penelope Bourbon, but then finished in maple syrup and then Caribbean rum casks. Now, me personally, I love maple finished bourbons, but then I don't like rum finished cast bourbons. So this is going to be an interesting one for me. Is it going to be a whiskey that, you know, is very upfront with the maple, or is the rum finish going to be upfront and personal where I don't personally enjoy it? Now, make sure you guys drop that like, leave a comment down below on what you think about finishes such as this one. Do you think that they belong in the bourbon world? Do they have a place, or are they too crazy and we should not be doing things like this? Make sure you guys smash that subscribe button. Check the link out down below for the Patreon. But without further ado, let's get into the review of the Penelope Havana. So the one thing on the nose is this is kind of giving me almost like a Jack Daniels kind of vibe. It's got a banana bready kind of nose. It's very, very sweet. It's very mellow. It's very easy to dive into this, and it's very, very pleasant on the nose. I get a really nice dark brown sugar on here. Like, you know, the molassesy vibe on this is very upfront and forward. You know, it kind of reminds me of almost like you had put this into your mind right here, a banana bread creme brulee with the molassesy dark brown sugar, caramelized sugar crust on top. If you could imagine that, that's what this nose is going to be. Very, you know, the one thing that is very prevalent on this is the grain. You know, a lot of the things that I'm getting on this are not going to be, you know, that maple cask or the rum cask on this nose. Now, the banana probably might be the rum, because you might get that rum funk, but a lot of the times on those Caribbean rums, you do get a banana note. So I will go as far to say that you might be getting some rum finish on the nose in this bottle. It's definitely not the worst nose, and it's not as upfront and personal like the Penelope Rio was, where you knew that bottle was finished in Amberana. This one is kind of fun and intricate in the nose, to where you can kind of find some fun nuances in it, and it's not just upfront with the cinnamon and that honey. Whatever the Amberana does is very, very noticeable. This one, you definitely can search in this glass and find some really, really interesting things on the nose. But enough of the nose, let's get into the palate and see what the Penelope Havana, one of my whiskeys that I was really, really interested in for 2025, is all about. You know, going in for this first sip of the Penelope Havana, it's not giving me what I was really looking forward in this. You know, I'm not looking for a dessert style wine. I'm not looking for something that is bold like the Penelope Rio was. But I was looking for something that, you know, gave me almost like a thick, syrupy, just like something that, you know, lingered for absolute ever. And this being proofed at 93 proof, I don't think it gives it that opportunity to do so. I think that if this was possibly proofed at like 103 proof, I think it possibly could give you that thick, syrupy, just coat your entire palate and let you just enjoy what this has to offer. But I think it's a little thin on that first sip at 93 proof. Let's go back in one more time and see what we're dealing with. You know, on the beginning of the palate, I will give this thing its flowers, because the beginning palate is actually really, really nice. I really enjoyed it. It's sweet, it's bold, it's got that molassesy kick, a little bit of a cinnamon punch, but not it's nowhere near what Amberana punch cinnamon is like. And it kind of rolls into on that beginning to mid palate, it kind of gives you a little bit of like a banana muffin. And I really, really like what that has to offer. But when you roll into the mid to late palate, you know, the beginning palate is that rum, and you're getting the rum up front and personal. And it's really, really nice, actually. And I am not a fan of rum finished whiskeys whatsoever. But the mid to late palate is where the maple kind of comes in. And that's where this thing kind of falls flat. You know, it's kind of the opposite of what I was expecting to like out of this whiskey. And the rum is actually enjoyable, whereas the maple is not. The one thing that I'm getting on this whiskey right here is, you know, a little bit of a fake sugared maple syrup. Almost like a sugar-free maple syrup, I guess you could say, where it tastes fake. And, you know, you go over that one person's house that is sugar-free and does all the sugar-free things, and it's really not the best thing for you anyway. You'd rather just have the real thing and, you know, dive into those actual calories and enjoy the real thing. And this gives me that fake maple syrup kind of vibe, and I'm not for it. You know, if I could cut it off at the mid palate, I would, and just enjoy the beginning of the sip. But it gives me that ride into that fake maple syrup, and I'm just not about that. I'm gonna go back in one more time, give it one more sip, and let's see if it changes my mind. I want to be a fan of this. I want to be able to recommend this bottle. And I know a lot of people out there are going to be all over this because of the fun things that this bottle has to offer. I think that I'm getting a youthfulness. Youthfulness comes through. I'm getting some of that graininess, and I think it's kind of masked by the finishes of this whiskey. I think that if this whiskey was in that 7 to 8 year range, and finished for a little bit longer in the rum barrels, and I think also proofed a little bit higher, I think that this thing would be an absolute home run. But the nose alone is a really, really good nose. The beginning of the palate is absolutely wonderful, but your entire journey of sipping a whiskey goes into the finish. And if the finish itself is not a home run, I think that kind of just tampers the entire experience of said bourbon or whiskey. And I think that with this whiskey right here, the Penelope Havana, the finish is not it. And I personally am not going to recommend this whiskey to anybody. You know, but hey, if you want to pick this up and experience it for yourselves, by all means, go for it. But me personally, I don't think that this is a home run, and it's a shame. It's an absolute shame. Let me know your thoughts down below if you've had the Penelope Havana. That's a hard one to say, honestly. Penelope Havana. You got to slow down and let it roll off of the tongue. Let me know your thoughts on it down below in the comments. Smash that subscribe, click the like. It helps the videos out like you wouldn't believe. And check out that link out down below for the Patreon. But until next time, this has been Nathan with the Everyday Drinker. Cheers.